was 22 years old when I started seeing a guy I met on a dating app. His name was Jason. He was from Minneapolis, Minnesota. We saw each other 4 times in just over a month. At first, everything seemed fine. Our first meeting was a quick coffee downtown, lasting less than an hour. Way to see if he seemed normal. The second time we met at a bar not far from my house. A few drinks, some laughs. Both a little tipsy, but overall a nice time. The third date was dinner. That's when I started wondering if I really liked Jason, or if there was something vague but slightly disturbing about the way he was. The date ended with a kiss, the only one between us. Yet, in my mind, I thought, if I let him kiss me, that means it's going well, right? A couple of weeks later, the fourth date, another round at the bar. But this time, I was less enthusiastic. I was careful, watching, and some of his little oddities started to hit me more clearly. It's hard to explain, but there was something in his mannerisms, in his looks, that gave an unsettling feeling. Almost antisocial. He drank a lot that evening. Too much. And he started getting pushy. He tried to kiss me in public several times. I really don't like showing affection in front of others, especially not in a crowded bar. I politely refused. Then I said I was tired and it was better to go. He paid the bill and we went out. We were walking to our cars when he suddenly stopped, looked me in the eyes, and bluntly asked if I wanted to go home with him. I said no. I told him the usual lie. I have work really early tomorrow. Not only was he drunk, but driving in that condition seemed dangerous to me. That evening, slowly driving out of the parking lot, I decided I wouldn't see him again. I had drunk too, but I was sober enough to drive carefully. Maybe it was that caution that made me notice that, after 3 turns, the same car was still behind me. At the next traffic light, I realized it was him. I texted him, "Are you the one following me?" He replied immediately, "Yes, I just want to make sure you get home safe." I called him, no answer. Strange, disturbing. I sent a more direct message. "Stop following me. I'm fine." I saw him brake. He stayed stopped in the middle of the street, probably to read. Then he started again and turned away. He didn't reply immediately. But half an hour later, while I was already at home in pajamas, he wrote, "I hope I didn't scare you tonight. Sorry, I was just a little drunk. Next time we could do something calmer, like dinner at my place." I didn't reply. The next morning, another message. Wow, dead vibe. Okay. I waited more. Not even 2 hours had passed when I received a message, just a question mark. At that point, I decided to be clear. "Hey Jason, it was nice getting to know you, but I think our personalities are not compatible. Right now, I want to focus on myself. I hope you understand." But he didn't understand. The first reply message was venomous. "Okay, no, I don't understand. You've wasted my time for 4 dates just to tell me this. Then give me back half of everything I spent on you." Then more messages, more and more aggressive. Some contained personal details that gave me chills. I blocked him. I thought it was over. I was wrong. The next day, I started receiving continuous calls from unknown numbers. No voice on the other end, just silence. Then it stopped. The next day, while I was home alone, my parents weren't there, I found a bouquet of flowers on the stairs with a note. It was from Jason. "Sorry for everything. Would you like to give us another chance?" The worst part? He knew where I lived. I sent him one last message. "Don't contact me anymore and never come to my house again, or I will file a restraining order." I blocked him. I thought again that it was over. But one night, home alone, I suddenly woke up. There was a noise coming from downstairs. Then I clearly heard a door opening, a door that no one should have touched. I slipped out of bed and hid underneath. I sent a message to the whole family asking if anyone was home. No answer. Then, footsteps, quiet, muffled, coming up the carpet. My bedroom door opened. Someone was there. The drawers of my nightstand opened. I held my breath. Ted. Then a low voice. God. Fuck. It sounded like his voice. The bed moved. I could see his shoes from under the bedspread. He sat there, silently. 2, 3 minutes. Then he whispered something. I didn't catch it. Well, but it was him. Then he closed all the drawers and left. Only then did I call 911. They told me to stay where I was, and I did. For 15 minutes, I heard knocking. It was the police. They searched the house. Every window was open. The dining room was big enough for someone to enter crawling. I filed a report. We provided messages, screenshots, everything. They said they would investigate, but without physical evidence, it was complicated. I managed to get a restraining order. Since then, I haven't seen him again, but I never really slept peacefully in that house again. And even today, sometimes, I'm terrified Jason might find where I live. I was 23 years old when I met Emily. At first, everything seemed like something out of a movie. We met by chance at a party, and right away there was that spark, that kind of connection that makes you think this time it's different. She was funny, smart, seemed to understand every nuance of me, as if she could read me without words. The following weeks flew by between messages, outings, and endless conversations until late at night. But little by little, that sweetness turned into something different, darker. At first, I didn't notice. The first signs were subtle, constant messages, insistent questions about where I was, who I was with, what I was doing at every moment. It just seemed like normal jealousy, something to overcome. But it wasn't that simple. Every time I tried to explain that I needed a little space, her reaction was disproportionate. You don't want to spend time with me. Maybe you don't really care. Every excuse, every delay became a reason for accusations and desperate crying. The endless phone calls during the day made me feel trapped, like I was losing my freedom. But I couldn't break that bond, because deep down, I loved Emily, or at least I thought I did. Then came the day I told her we had to stop. I couldn't live like that anymore, with that constant feeling of walking on a thin wire, one step away from falling. Her reaction was devastating. First, she denied, cried, begged. But when she realized I was firm, she changed attitude. She became cold, threatening. The first times she showed up without warning at my place, I thought they were just coincidences. Then her visits became more and more frequent, at increasingly strange hours. One night, coming back from a concert, I found my front door slightly open. My blood ran cold. I grabbed my phone and called 911, trying to stay calm while I entered the house carefully, my heart pounding wildly. I heard a noise coming from the bedroom. I approached quietly, trying not to make noise, but I knew it was only a matter of time before that door opened. And it did. Out of my closet came Emily. Her eyes glossy, mouth pressed in a tight line, with a knife held in her trembling hand. You can't leave me, she whispered in a hoarse voice. We're meant to be together. You can't run away from me. Terror paralyzed me for a moment. My breath became short. I had never seen that side of her, that dark side hiding behind that sweet and reassuring smile. We looked at each other for long minutes, a silence heavy, with tension that seemed to cut the air. I knew that any wrong move could have triggered a tragedy. Then, in a moment of desperate clarity, I decided to pretend. I started speaking calmly, telling her maybe we could try again. Yet, we shouldn't give up like this. Emily slowly lowered the knife, confused, almost relaxed. At that moment, I grabbed the phone and called 911 again. The police arrived quickly, handcuffed Emily, and took her away. After that episode, spent sleepless nights reliving every detail, every small warning sign I had ignored, the constant demands for attention, the veiled threats. That jealousy I hadn't taken seriously. Emily was convicted of stalking and serious threats. But for me, the wound remained open. Every time I come back to that house, a chill runs down my spine. That experience taught me how thin the line can be between love and obsession, and how dangerous it is to ignore even the smallest signs. If there's one thing I want to say to those listening, it's this: never underestimate your instincts. If something scares you, if someone crosses the line, seek help. Don't wait until it's too late. I was 22 years old, and my life seemed normal. At least, that's what I thought. I was part of a group of friends I went out with every weekend. We laughed, confided in each other, and we seemed invincible. Among them was Mark, charismatic, always available, a guy who seemed genuine and trustworthy. At first, everything was normal. Mark was one of us, no warning signs. But after a few months, something in him changed. Or maybe I started noticing small details I had ignored before. Mark began sending me messages more and more frequently. Didn't I reply immediately? Another dozens of messages came, increasingly insistent. Where are you? With whom? How don't you answer? At first, I laughed, thinking it was just a way to show me he cared. Then he started showing up everywhere. At work, outside bars, even when he wasn't invited. Hey, I'm nearby. Can I come say hi? He said with that sweet voice, but underneath there was something darker. An anxiety I couldn't ignore. One day, coming home, I found a note on my car windshield. I need to talk to you. Don't ignore me. The handwriting was his. I was sure. My heart started beating fast, but I tried to rationalize. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding. Everything will be fine. But that night, fear knocked on my door. I was trying to sleep when I heard a noise at the window. Someone was throwing stones against the glass. I held my breath, turned off the light, and looked behind the curtain. Mark was there, his face lit by the street lamps, eyes fixed on my room. I turned off everything and hid under the covers. Trembling in the following days, he kept sending threatening messages, followed me everywhere, more and more invasive, more and more dangerous. I tried talking to my friends, but no one wanted to believe me. Maybe you're exaggerating, they said. Mark isn't like that. I felt alone, trapped one evening after a party. I came home later than usual, tired, my head spinning, and a knot in my stomach. As soon as I opened the door, I heard a noise coming from my room. Light steps, almost a whisper. My heart was exploding in my chest as I climbed the stairs. When I opened the door, Mark was there, sitting on my chair, with a smile I couldn't decipher. Mark, what are you doing here? How did you get in? I asked, trying to stay calm. I just wanted to be with you a little, he answered, without a trace of remorse. I said I was going out for a few hours, telling a lie, just to get away from him. But coming back home, reality was even more chilling. Opening the door, I saw him there, sitting on the couch as if it was the most normal thing in the world. I had no idea how he had gotten in again. His presence froze my breath. I knew I was in danger. That night was a nightmare. I called the police, but without tangible evidence, everything seemed useless. Mark never gave up. Fear consumed me. Every noise, every shadow, every message made me jump. In the end, I managed to get a restraining order, but the feeling that he could come back, that he could enter my life again, remained, even today. When I closed the door of my house, I checked twice to make sure it's locked. When I hear an unusual noise, panic takes over. This is my story, the story of how a friend can turn into a nightmare, and how the line between attention and obsession is thinner than you might imagine.